it wasn't until later that I realized this is actually an asset and I'm actually helping people because many of them, I could help them start increasing their sales and profitability. That was a big piece of it for me was I could analyze their business and say, in 30 minutes, help you add $30,000 to your bottom line. And I have a series of questions I go through and I know exactly where your business needs to shift and tweak. Sometimes it's your pricing, sometimes it's upsell or downsell, whatever the case may be. And within 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I can whip out $1,000 or more for a P&L for a bottom line. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, if I could just focus on this and give back people time, it's a win-win. Like you're making more money and you're more profitable. Like who would say no to that?
All right, everyone, we have Lindsay with us, and it's going to be a good episode. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me here on the show, Nick. I'm excited. My name's Lindsay Sutherland. A little bit about me is I'm a mom of four. And after COVID, I decided to homeschool my kids because school was a little wonky at that time. And I had to quit my job. So I started building a business at the same time. Talk about being a glutton for punishment. Homeschooling and building a business. That was definitely a tall order, but I got through it. Kids ended up going back to school the next year and everything's kind of smoothed out, but I still work for myself. Also fun little side tidbit is I had a dream of living in a log cabin in the woods. I was working in corporate America in a career that was good, but just wasn't fulfilling. And I had a dream of living in a remote area. So we left Arizona about 8 years ago to move to North Idaho. And we found our dream cabin and we raise sheep and have a little homestead. So that sort of summarizes my life in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Like, living in a cabin just sounds amazing. For me, like, I can't wait to buy a cabin on a lake someday because
Hmm.
that's how I grew up. I grew up with family that had a cabin on the lake, and now it's like, I want that for myself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because before I bought my home that I live in now, about 10 years ago, when I was looking for houses, I found a cabin on the lake that me and my family went to growing up. And I almost bought that, but the only reason why I didn't is because you weren't buying the land, you were buying the cabin and leasing the land, and the landowner wouldn't allow access in the winter. So I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's not gonna work."
No, that's definitely something we run into up here too. There's a lot of places it's not that they don't allow access. There's some places you just can't access because the
Yep.
snow gets so bad. But we're very fortunate being that we were city slickers when we moved out here. We had one vehicle that was four-wheel drive. We were not, well, I wasn't accustomed to snow. My husband was originally from Canada, so he acclimated a little better. But we got very fortunate that we found a property that's on a plowed road. It's a county road, but they do service the road. So thank heavens for that because I wasn't really ready to jump in a tractor just yet.
But it's fun.
I'm sure it is. My husband has a great ball with it. I'd rather just let him.
Yeah. No, I grew up on a farm, so I know all about tractors and skid loaders, plowing snow, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. Where are you from originally? What part of the country?
So I still live here, but I'm in Austin, Minnesota. So it's
Okay.
like the southernmost spot in Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
And I'm in
you
the
know,
northern part of Idaho, like literally the tippy top next to Canada. So
okay, yeah, cool. Awesome. But so let's talk business. What are you doing nowadays?
I mean, to summarize it succinctly, our passion is helping people get back their time. And we do that in basically three ways. One way is we build digital products. We do digital product development. And this is ideal for business owners that need more leads or maybe they're capped out on their one-to-one service. So they're looking for a way to add revenue that's scalable, that doesn't require them trading time for money. That's our primary thing. Secondary is automations. So businesses who have scaled, like their business grew faster than they could keep up with. This happens to some really great businesses. Word of mouth just lights that fire. And next thing you know, they're feeling like they're herding cats and running around like a chicken with their head cut off, we can come in and we do a workflow audit and streamline, leverage tech where tech makes sense, and help them just get back some time and some sanity, really. And then the last is we have a CRM component that's an option for people who need that. But really, that's our mission, is to help entrepreneurs be more efficient.
I love that because what we do at our company, Infinite Success Media, is we give people their time back. That's like our main focus. That's like our pitch. Because whether you need help with podcasting, we handle everything that takes the time. And then social media. I'm sure you know social media can eat up a ton of time, and we just do it for people.
Yes.
And our clients just love it because they got back, at least 8 hours a week at
Mhm.
minimum, you
It's
know?
true. I started my podcast about 5 years ago, and there was one point in time where I did a time audit because I was just curious, like, how long is it taking me to do an episode? And by this point, I'd been doing it long enough, so it wasn't like I was still new.
Mhm.
And so from coming up with what to say, recording, editing, doing my newsletter, doing my social media, doing my shorts, all the things, it took me 6 hours for one episode. Yep. So 100%. And I was like, man, that's a commitment, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I know when we started out, we were at, like, 4 hours an episode, and now it's, like, half hour at most.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank goodness for AI,
I
obviously.
know, like, all of these tools that we use, the softwares, it just takes all the time out of it. It just makes it so easy, and, yeah, I love it, It's just like, we use a lot of AI, but we still give the last 20% that human touch.
Hmm.
That's what we're about.
Yeah, AI is definitely, I look at it and I think to myself, like, how did we function without it? It was
I
such a
know.
game changer. But at the same time, you can't get lazy and just ignore what it says. You got to check it. I actually, because of AI, I've been able to train my son, he's 13, to help me with managing my podcast and whatnot. And I just had a guest comment. She's like, "Oh, my website's spelled wrong." I'm like, "Yikes." I
Yep.
told my son, I'm like, "You got to check spelling. Like, just because it's reading the transcript doesn't make it right. You got to always double check it." And that is true. It still takes time, but it has been a game changer. And the what blows my mind, Nick, is the direction tech is going. Like, I just recently, one of my clients is she's a commercial Christmas installer, and then she helps guys that do like Christmas lights. There you'll see the signs up though. We hang Christmas lights. Well, she teaches those folks how to build a commercial Christmas business so that they're doing like resorts or malls and higher ticket items essentially. And she was telling me, she said, "Lindsay, I love your Biz in a Box idea," because that's our company, Biz in a Box Solutions. She goes, "But I really need a lead generator automated sales process funnel set up," right? So she tasked me with that. And I started doing some research, and it blew my mind, like, how quickly technology has advanced just in the last, I would say, a year. A year ago, I did a demonstration on AI voice through our system, which is a white label of High Level. And it was decent. It was okay, but it couldn't book appointments for you. It could just basically talk to you, maybe send you a text message of the link to schedule. It couldn't do things for you. Now, though, it can make shorts. It's integrated with video. It can pre-schedule your content for you. It's obviously AI content, so you definitely have to give it very clear prompts. But also it has an outbound calling agent, like it can do B2B calling, it can book appointments, it could be a receptionist, and all of that in 1 year.
This episode is sponsored by Atopic AI for Opportunity. Atopic is an AI-powered opportunity discovery platform, and the best word that I can describe it is ChatGPT. But instead of giving you information, it gives you real people you should be connecting with. Whether you're looking for clients, partners, investors, job prospects, or high intent leads, Atopic makes it simple. You just type what you're looking for, and the AI thinks through thousands of signals, and then surfaces verified prospects with context, not random lists. It even helps you follow up, nurture conversations, and track your pipeline. What I love about Atopic and why I'm excited to have them as a sponsor is that they're solving the biggest problem in business growth. Finding the right people at the right time. If you haven't yet, go to atopic.com and try it. It's one of the smartest tools out there for people trying to grow their business. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because we actually use that, and we're still like, I don't know a whole lot about it. My business partner takes care of most of that, but we're still like training it to do more and more. Like we're still at the point where it books appointments by just sending you a text with a link. So we gotta improve on that. But it's just awesome how we can take that mundane stuff and have AI help with it. It's just really awesome.
It really is. And it's getting people who are solopreneurs, or this is what I love because this is dear to my heart, Nick. My dad was a flooring contractor. So I grew up, he was just him and my mom. My mom was his secretary. He had a couple of guys that he would have help him with jobs, but they were not W-2 employees. It was all subcontracted labor. This is what you call like America was built on the backs of the quote little guy, right? Like the people who are not these big names. And I feel like the beauty behind the AI is that it's empowering these people again because it's giving them these resources to be able to do more rather than having to hire and pay the exorbitant fees and the taxes and all the things that these companies hook and the government hooks you into when you start getting into managing employees. It just changes the whole dynamics of your P&L statement when you have labor in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
So I just think it's so great because it just really truly is making a path forward for people who before were probably feeling burdened by some of the changes that have been coming down the pike.
Yep, I agree. And like a lot of people are worried about AI taking their job. Well, you just have to learn how to work with AI.
Mhm.
AI can just help you do your job better. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I know there's a religious component to it, not to get like biblical, but I was just
Yeah.
talking to somebody. She's a client of mine, and she's was raised Amish, right? So
Hmm.
very very Christian roots. And I wasn't sure how she would feel about AI, but I could see that this could be a benefit to her, and so I brought it up, and it got me talking about this. Like, how does that work? And I can't help but think that somewhere along the way, like God has His hand in this thing because the jobs that might be getting replaced and the certain parts that are getting, I don't know, thwarted, shall we say,
Hmm.
are are still an opportunity for people to just simply pivot and go into a different direction or find a job or a career that is more fulfilling than maybe just being a taskmaster in another direction, or having more relationships, or having more a relationship driven what I meant by that was relationship driven jobs or businesses. And I truly think that like that is the heart of humanity. And I'm sure you've run across that too. You're very good at building relationships. It's like I just think that we've gotten away from that. And in some ways, AI has facilitated that, but it's also forcing us to get back to that, right? At the same time. So it's kind of this dual edged sword that I see playing out.
Yeah,
You
it's
see
like
that?
for our business and our podcast, it's like we could just have somebody fill out a form to see if they're a good fit for the podcast or a good fit to be a client. But as you know, for the podcast, I met with you first. But I want to talk to everybody first. And that's the same with our clients. Like, we don't go in anywhere until we sit down with someone, see what they really need, not what we think they need. I want to know what they need and then cater to them. It's funny because 90% of the time, our clients don't pay like the package price on our website because we customize everything.
Mhm.
Because I been there before where you buy a program and you pay a lot of money. You only use 25% of the program.
Right.
So it's like you paid all this for nothing. You know, I never want to be that type of company. I want to give the people just what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of a lady in town. She classifies herself as a bookkeeper, but she's really more like a back office Betty, you might say, because she'll get the mail or she'll let your customers come and drop. I mean, now we're a small town, so
Hmm.
kind of everybody knows everybody type of
Yep.
thing. But she does like she'll customize it so that you know, if you're just starting your business, you pay a smaller amount, and then as you grow, you might get to pay more, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of the mindset behind what you're doing. And I think that's fantastic because that is ultimately the goal. I mean, everybody wants the same ending. We want to be better and further along than we were when we started out. And we want a service or a support system that helps us make those strides, right? And so if we're doing our job as service providers, that would be the outcome, if essentially. So I think that's fantastic. I do something similar with custom build outs. Like if somebody needs help, we start with like a workflow audit, but we can break it down. We can start with like the biggest pain point first. Let's just nail this option, right? Get that off. And then later we can do other things as you know, time and money prevail, so to speak.
Yep. That's awesome. And like when you work with your typical client, what does that really look like for as far as like how you start out and then how you get them to where they want to be?
Well, that's great. And I'm actually in the process of rebuilding my website. Hopefully it'll be done by the end of this week. So that's good. Because that was something that I was actually struggling with was like, I used to hear a lot like, oh, you do so much. I don't know exactly how to work with you. And so I really prayed about it, thought deeply about it, and I finally figured it out. I'm like, okay, it boils down to I'm saving people time. That's what my passion is. You know, my dad died before he hit retirement. And I just want people to have the maximum life joy that they can have and not be burdened by. I want their job to be fun and enjoyable and not a burden, you know? And so I'm like, how do I do this? Well, digital product development, I have 3 levels that people can work with me there. I could just be a thought partner. So a lot of people hire me just to think with them, think through, take what they do really well and make it streamlined and profitable, think through the funnel, that kind of stuff. And then from there, we can do a done with you or a done for you if you want help with the tech side. And then on the flip side, when it comes to the automations, that's where my business partner, Emily, shines. She really is so good at critical thinking and process mapping. So often starts with the workflow audit. And what I love about her, actually, it's how we met. It was a few years ago. I was in that space where I was running a marketing agency. It was just it was exactly what I described, where my business kind of took off without my processes all being in order. And I was stressed out and I was overwhelmed and I was like, what did I get myself into? And she and I became friends on Facebook and she just talked through everything with me and organized, like put things she knew about tech that I hadn't even had a chance to find out about. I didn't have
Mhm.
time to research any of it. And
Yeah.
she just walked me through that. And later I said, let's partner up because I'm really good at the marketing side of things. You're really good at the systemizing side of things and both are complementary. So let's just team up. And that's kind of how we got going.
Hmm.
Um, but on that, to answer your question, on that side of it, people meet with her, they do a workflow audit, and then from there, we bid on it. So, depending on if they have a CRM and we want to build it in what they have, or if they need a new one. And then from there, how many systems and how many emails and funnels, landing pages, and all the jazz that can go on. It's just custom from there.
That's so awesome. Look, you really go through everything with your clients and you make sure that you're giving them exactly what they need.
Mhm.
I love that because it's not something you see that often these days. It's like you're taking the time, just like we do, to figure out exactly what they need and help them get to where they want to go.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I see that a lot where it's like, especially with marketing agencies, that's kind of one of the reasons why I ended up being so overwhelmed because I think differently. I understood a lot of different marketing strategies and many of them were organic. Podcasting is a great one. Um, and so I would find that I was custom tailoring marketing for everybody. But you'll see agencies are often very cookie cutter, like they specialize in SEO or they specialize
Hmm.
in Facebook ads or Google ads. And they're going to put that customer into the box they want them in, whether good, bad, right, or wrong, And it's like, it's not always a one size fits all. Um, and there's pros and cons to both sides of the coin. So it is one of those things that I did struggle with in the beginning when I was first getting started was I just felt like maybe I was all over the place because I was not doing what those other people are doing. It wasn't until later that I realized this is actually an asset and I'm actually helping people because many of them I could help them start increasing their sales and profitability. That was a big piece of it for me was I could analyze their business and say, in 30 minutes, help you add $30,000 to your bottom line. And I have a series of questions I go through, and I know exactly where your business needs to shift and tweak. Sometimes it's your pricing, sometimes it's upsell or downsell, whatever the case may be. And within 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I can whip out $30,000 or more for a P&L for a bottom line. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, if I could just focus on this and give back people time, it's a win-win. Like you're making more money and you're more profitable. Like who would say no to that? That's kind of how I got my feet wet, so to speak.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And for the listeners out there, where do they go to? I'll work with you.
Yeah, so the best place is just our website. It's biz in a box solutions.com. And from there I have the three different pillars and you can choose or just book a call with us and we can talk through what you need.
That's so awesome. Everyone, I think you know by now from listening, she knows her stuff. She knows how to get you to where you want to go. And most importantly, she knows how to save you time. And that's what we all want, just more time, because that is the most valuable resource we have is time. So, Lindsay, I just have one more question. My slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
I love that. Well, in my opinion, number one ability that makes us infinite is simply being aware of our infinite potential. So that awareness is like a superpower. And actually, that's a practice I have every day. I wake up and I do pray to God and I pray to God and I say, thank you for being the provider of infinite possibility. Thank you for knowing the way. Thank you for knowing, helps me release control over my day and be open to infinite possibility coming my way. And I find when I do that, I have a really positive day. And days that I don't have a positive day. So I think it's our mindset. The power is right here between our ears.
It is. That is so true. And I know for me, like, I have my morning routine. And if I don't do that morning routine, my day is crap. It doesn't matter. Just if I don't get that done, I just don't feel right all day. So I love what you do in the morning. And thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show. This was truly incredible.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Your Heart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. So let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.